All right, hey everybody, welcome to Chiustream. You know, we get all these really nice messages and everything from all sorts of different people from all over the world. This one's a little special to me because this was really like the big purpose of schoolism subscriptions and making, you know, education that used to cost hundreds of dollars, $470 on a regular price, down to $15 a month. And why would we do that? It's because I never made schoolism to really make money. It was just like this quest to find the best knowledge in the world, but people can't afford the best knowledge, then, you know, what are they going to do? So really the main purpose was to make it affordable for everybody, and hopefully even people that couldn't ever afford education before, now they can. And so this message is important to me because Rajin is from a third world country. You know, he writes, "Hey everyone, I thought I would share some great news with you all. Because of all the work I did in schoolism for a year, I was able to create a portfolio that got me a job as a story artist in a Korean animation studio to work on the kids' television show Super Wing. I truly believe that I wouldn't have gotten this chance without schoolism. Schoolism has been one of the most amazing things that has happened to me. I'm from a third world country that does not have the education available to people who want a career in the arts. So I can't say how thankful I am to Bobby and all the teachers, Daisutsumi, Robert Kondo, Steven Silver, Terrell Whitlatch, Nathan Fowkes, Alex Wu, Daniel Arriaga, Jason Seiler, Chris Pernt. This guy has just burned through so many classes. It's so great to see. Below is a link to my work, all of which was created during my classes in schoolism. Definitely check that out. I should probably put that in the details of the video as well. But what a great way to start off the day.
Yeah, it's such a great message, and it makes it feel like you've done everything right.
We're on the right path.
We are.
Right?
We're
on the right path. So right on, Rajan. Couldn't be more proud of you. Mm-hmm. That's so great. Mm-hmm. You know, Masay, you were saying, let's start off with the questions that we couldn't get to last week.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we'll just start off with that, and then I guess anyone on the stream who has a question, you can just write question and then put it down, and I'll catch that for our the later questions. So yeah, we'll just go through these ones from last week. Amanda Tolentio says, "Hi Bobby Masay, as a recent art grad, I find myself shifting my art style towards certain studios, thinking it gives me a higher chance in landing a job there. Is that the right way?"
The best way to land a job, for one, is if you like a studio, make your stuff compatible to that studio. Think of it as the studio is this beautiful jacket that you want to wear. Your job is to make the pants that will go with that jacket. You know, so when they see your stuff, they go, yeah, this totally fits in with what we're doing, yet we don't have this. Mm-hmm. You know, and when it's like that, when it's super compatible and you're just like complementary and stuff like that, then that puts you in a much ready for a much higher position as well, because now you're not a gap filler. You are hopefully one of the superstars, you know, leading the style, leading whatever. And to kind of add on top of that, try to be a person that doesn't just take instructions. If you get the job, don't just take instructions. Think for yourself as well. Do those instructions and think of suggestions, stuff like that. Brainless jobs that don't take creativity are getting automated more and more. We all know this. Security comes from being creative.
Yeah, and also from the first point that you made, I also think that a lot of people say they don't want another copy of this person, so it's better to kind of have something new to present. So
yeah, you know, like speaking of that, a lot of times it's like people will say, I love what you did on this movie, I want to hire you for my movie, but I don't want it to be the same as this other movie. Mm-hmm. Right? And that happens so much.
Okay, so the next question is by Neanderthal. Will you come to Ireland for a workshop?
I would love to. Cool. You know what? Because the online component of schoolism is getting so big and it needs my attention, we are only doing 8 workshops next year. Okay, and some private ones for big companies and stuff, but the public ones, there are only 8. And let me just go through them, and you can mark down the ones that are closest to you and make sure you get there. Okay, so number 1 coming up, Seattle, March 2nd and 3rd, Andrea Blasic, Chris Sasaki, Ryan Lang, Jesper Ising, Victoria Ying, Jeff Turley. Holy smokes. Okay, we're not doing a San Francisco workshop this year. We were planning on an Oakland workshop this year, or 2017. We're not. Okay, it's going to be 2018 at the earliest. So Seattle is going to be a really great choice. Also, there's Florence in March, Calgary at the end of April, Beijing for the first time in May, London and Berlin in June, Portland in September, and Copenhagen in October. That's it. Did I miss Toronto? No, I didn't miss Toronto. We aren't doing Toronto this year. Okay, we had to make some big decisions, but that's the whole entire thing. You know, each one of these workshops is super special, super different than the last. You don't want to wait for, I'll catch the next one. Yeah, so get on it. Keep that learning consistent. At least do something every year that you can learn and, you know, you can heighten your game. So for those of you in Ireland, I suggest coming to London. It's going to be a fantastic workshop there as well.
Yeah.
It always is.
Yeah, totally. So the next question is by Ashik. Who are your art heroes, both in old generation and present generation?
Ooh, I like that. Art heroes, well, the ones that just come off the top of my head, okay? So these aren't like the biggest, best whatevers, my absolute favorites, but they are definitely amongst the top, okay? So if I miss any, forgive me, it's just off the top of my head. I would say Peter Desev is a huge one, has always been a huge one for me. Just brilliant and humorous, and the ideas are priceless that he comes up with. Ian McKeag, not only is he an amazing draftsman, storyteller, everything, but he's a fantastic role model. Who else is there? Well, you know what? Lauren Lanning and Sherry McKenna, you know, they created Oddworld. They were one of the very, very few, probably the only people with such a huge property that got to keep their property and didn't have to sell it to, you know, whatever, to make their games. Who else is there? Well, for sure, Ken Ralston. Ken Ralston is like my Ray Harryhausen. You know, he is the person that created all the films that made up my childhood, you know, from Star Wars to Back to the Future to Forrest Gump to whatever, and then getting to work with him on a couple movies as well. That was huge. Moebius. That's so a given. Amazing. He's Craig Mullins. That's a given. New ones. I'll tell you some new ones. Evan Amundsen is now my artistic hero because the dude is just rocking. He's killing it in so many ways, and he's so dedicated, and he's younger than me, and supposedly he took my schoolism class, that's what he told me like years ago, and now he's just crushing it. Yeah, look out for him as well. This is just a few, just really off the top of my head. Ryan Lang is a huge one as well. Claire Wendling, Brenda Chapman, Kevin Lima. Oh my gosh, there's too many. Okay, I'm going to stop there.
This goes on and on. Okay, we'll just go on to the next question. I don't have a name for this person, but this person asks, I just couldn't draw or paint for a whole depressive month. How do you overcome those kind of periods? Of course, if you had any. I've been going through that for the last year. I've been just not liking any of my stuff. And the reason is because I've been going through a lot of, earlier this year, I went through a lot of arm problems and back problems, and it was just brutal. And every time I draw, if I drew for 2 hours, I would be messed up
for the next like day, you know, where my whole right side is just tingling, and you can tell every time I try to pick up a pencil it got worse and worse. Anyways, I could just feel my skills depleting from me, and so every time I tried to draw anything, it wasn't as good as before, and I'd just be sad about it, you know. But smile. Life is a blessing, and we're all here to witness it. You know, we're on this tiny little pebble in the middle of nowhere, floating around a slightly bigger flaming pebble. You know, what's the whole entire point of all this? I think the whole entire point of all this is so that we can just be conscious to witness it, to know that we are living in, you know, we have this really special moment. So no matter what you're going through, I'd say we can still smile about it, because we can feel, we can think, we're experiencing life. It's amazing. So, you know, keep going. And the other thing is, when life throws bricks in your face, it's how you deal with the failures that will determine how successful you'll become. Everybody will get bricks in the face. Everybody will get failures. Okay? So those failures that you're going through right now in your drawings or whatever, those are necessary. And those are tests that will help you build into the character, into the artist that you strive to, that we all strive to become, right? So you're on the right path. It's all about the decisions that you're going to make from these failures, okay? Put a big smile on, keep going.
Yeah, always with a positive attitude.
Totally. And we've been grinding it out every night, just like, you know, drawing, painting. It's been tough. And we've gone through our own little, you know, bumps in the road and things like that, for sure.
Yeah, especially the past couple months.
Yeah, you know, new projects, new opportunities. There's going to be some bumps.
Awesome. So the next question is by Francisco Miyara. What do you do when you start struggling with a painting and you know something is wrong, but you don't know exactly what's failing?
If you know something's wrong, well, you know, some simple things is you flip your canvas so you see it from the other side. If it's a traditional piece of art, you hold up a little mirror to the side of your face and look into the mirror to see your image, see how that looks. That's from Nathan Fowkes. You know, ask a friend. Shrink it down. Look at it from far away. Do you still understand it? Perhaps you might not, and then that kind of means that your contrast is all over the place, and or your composition is not as readable as it should be.
Yeah, I think those are good points.
Cool.
I think also, if you use references, that would be a good one, because you know something's off, but you're not exactly sure. For example, maybe a creature, it seems off because it doesn't seem like it has the right like anatomy, for example, or the right face structure to get that feeling that you want to give off. True.
Yeah, reference as inspiration. You know, like if you're making a creature, anyways.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a picture of a creature.
Okay, so the next question by Ashik Dragneel. What is art in your view? What do you try to communicate through your art?
I'm trying to get an emotion from people, a reaction. You know, what is the highest level of art? It's the emotional impact that it gives to your audience, right? Your favorite movie, did it make you feel anything? Of course. If a movie doesn't make you feel anything, that's usually not such a good movie, and you kind of don't like the movie after, right?
Yeah.
It's like the excitement, it's the fun, it's the laughter, it's the romance, it's whatever. It's the awe-inspiring feeling of seeing something epic. Well, I usually try to start off with that idea. What do I want the audience to feel? And then I gear all of my, technical skills, knowledge, whatever, towards making that feeling happen, right? And you can apply this theory to any kind of art, even abstract art, right? Even more in abstract art because it's abstract. They just want you to feel something, right? A particular emotion or whatever. So a lot of people, they don't really think about that. They get caught up in the technical aspect of the art. But at the highest level, you're trying to make people feel stuff, right? And if you are trying to make them feel laughter and they kind of just go, you know, you failed. You know, they got to go, oh, snap. Hey, Masay, you got to check this out. This is so funny. And then when Masay laughs, she's going to tell somebody else. Whenever that happens, that's a great piece.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you're trying to get an emotion and you really nail it, that is great art to me. When your intent meets the actual, outcome.
It's like when you go to conventions and stuff. I see this working at the booth. It's like when people, they walk by, they have a glance, and then they take a second look, and then they walk back, and then they call their friends, and they're like, look, look, look.
That's the best thing about going to conventions, really, is seeing that genuine reaction. Yeah, it's super powerful and super important.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I that's why I'm just waiting for the people's reaction and see, like, because everyone's always different as well. There's like the kids' reaction, the adults' reaction, and then couples' reaction.
And the best is the kids' reaction because it's so genuine.
It is.
You know, the dad could be like, "Oh, look at this one, Tommy," and then Tommy looks at it and goes, "Meh." You know, that's as genuine as you get.
Okay, so the next question is by Meg Chan Doodles. What do you recommend for a late bloomer who wants to learn art? I feel like I have some potential, but my skills aren't ready to make a good portfolio for illustration school.
So what was the beginning question? Part of the question? What do you recommend for a late bloomer
who wants to learn art?
The fastest shortcut to getting good is not like copying something or reading a book about something. It's having somebody explain something to you, you know, and because art is so visual, videos or live in person, but it's always trying to find the people with the really great knowledge out there and learn straight from them. That is the fastest way, whether you're a late bloomer, early bloomer, whatever, to get really crazy awesome about art.
Okay, the next question is by Noah. Oh, Noah.
Hey, Noah.
A friend and I are thinking of making a collaborative art book. Any advice for collaborative work and healthy working relationship?
Yeah, actually, you know, Masay, you've been leading the project that you're on, and you have a few different people that you're working with.
Yeah. Maybe
you can kind of handle this question about how to work with more than one person or whatever on a project.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been getting a lot of help from you, which has been awesome, or else I'd be kind of like a chicken without a head running around not knowing where to go. But I think one of the really important thing was to I guess as the person who's kind of leading, it's to know where everyone's at, but try not to micromanage. It's more of just being like, hey, like, what are you working on? Oh, okay, I know where you're at. So it kind of like, in my mind, I kind of put this schedule in my head of how each person is working. And the whole daily meeting, like a really short 5-minute meeting helps too. And I think trying to separate work and like your personal relationship with that person separate is also really important too.
Yeah, whatever's best for the book, whatever is best for the art book that you're making, you know, that's what you should do. And that's what both people should kind of keep an eye on and just agree to, like, okay, we have to try to do stuff where it's not thinking about people's feelings and things like that, but what's going to make the best art book, as hard as that is.
Yeah, and even if it comes to that, which it almost did, we just talked about and be like, hey, like, I understand, so, like, you feel like this and that, but
Everybody goes through stuff.
yeah.
Totally. And just a couple little simple tips is always put your title at the top of your book. Don't make it go down the side like a vertical title, because imagine your book's on shelves. Maybe you don't get the front spot. People still want to be able to read the title of your book if it's behind another book, right? So you always put it at the top. Another thing that's very, very important when you're thinking about making your own book is think about how you're going to sell the book. If it's only online, you better have a huge following, or else you're not going to really sell too many books. I'm saying huge following, probably like minimal 10,000 followers, because out of those 10,000, you're going to get like hopefully 100 that will buy the book. Yeah.
And also I think once you guys actually start producing stuff that are finished, printing it out and then posting it on, like, making an art wall is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Like putting them side by side and you're like, we're actually doing something.
To keep you motivated, right?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it's great. It's great. You start off with a blank wall, and every time you finish something, you put it up, and then the other person can look at it and feed off of it and stuff like that. It's really great.
Yeah. But good for you for, trying to get this art book going. Okay, so the next question is by T-Rod. I can look at stuff and draw, but have no technical structure or understanding of any technique. Where should I start in schoolism?
If you're talking about drawing, well, there's actually many different entry points. Like with schoolism, the whole entire philosophy behind schoolism is very much a lot of the same things that I talk about. You don't want to just learn from one person, one subject. You want to learn from as many different people about that just one subject as you can. And then so schoolism, the classes, it's not really, you don't sign up to learn about light and color. You more like you sign up to learn how Sam Nielsen thinks about light and color. And then you might switch to how does Nathan Fowkes think about light and color, and Dyson Robert, and so on and so forth. So drawing wise, you can pick any course there and you'll do great at it. You'll really learn just a ton. Unless there's a prerequisite, unless you need to submit a portfolio, then I wouldn't really go for those. Like a one-on-one with Craig Mullins. You're talking like, Craig Mullins, he pretty much invented modern day digital painting and is arguably the best at it. If you're just struggling with drawing, then don't take that course. Tara Whitlatch, the most knowledgeable creature designer out there, knows everything about creatures and all sorts of living things. Yeah, you want to know how to draw to enter her course. But everybody else, pretty much, it would be perfect for you. And not only that, but it would be perfect for professionals that are, in the biz for like 10 years, art director, because you're learning how that artist does things. Yeah. A lot of times the best knowledge is stuff that's super simple to understand, but to do it can take you a lifetime to master.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so the next question is by Nick Cannon. How do you motivate yourself to complete a project from start to finish when you're a person who thrives from art direction? For example, your teacher or boss telling you what to draw.
Well, I really try to tap into why I started drawing and painting in the first place. Pretty much all of us, we didn't get into that for the same reason that somebody would want to become a dentist or a lawyer. we got into it because we just really were obsessed about drawing. It wasn't about financial security and stuff like that. It was because I loved the smell of crayons as I sit there on the ground, 4 years old, my mom's cooking in the kitchen. Like, get back to that level. Get swept up by art. The best feeling in the world is just to let yourself go and allow yourself to be swept up in the passion for art, in your passion for art. So turn back the dial, go back to that place and start to expand that person.
Yeah. It's like getting to that that genuine feeling of why.
Yeah, and if you don't know what to draw, just start drawing things that are familiar to you. And it's kind of like a warm-up. It's kind of like stretches before your exercise. You start doing that, and you'll start to get ideas and things like that.
Yeah, awesome. The next question is from Amanda. Hey again. In Photoshop, how did you open a mini zoomed out thumbnail, the one to the left, of your piece while still working on it? So I guess we have one on this demo as well.
Yeah, somebody already mentioned that. You go up to Window, Arrange, New Window, boom.
And it's like the exact same thing.
Yes, and the best thing of all is you can draw in the small window. You can't draw in the navigator window. So when you're drawing in the small window, it's the equivalent of drawing a little thumbnail or drawing from really far away. Just like what we usually do when we're drawing and painting. We take a step back, we draw from far away, then we go up close, and we draw from up close. This is like that on steroids because you can see both views at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is by Ashik. How to resist yourself from comparing your art with others?
We're all on our own path, like I said this last time, but I don't care to be better than anybody else. I just care to be better than myself constantly.
Yeah.
Just look for the improvement. If you're always going forward, you'll get to your destination.
Yeah. Just look at the in front, like look straight.
Exactly.
So the next question is by Boren Graffiti. Do you do other things than art, or do you feel like you need to go away from your art sometimes to come back with some fresh ideas and a good feeling? I often feel like while I'm drawing my work, it's not turning out the way I want it to. Would you still finish it all the way, or would you throw it away and start something new?
That's a kind of tricky question. Like sometimes you try to struggle with it and it gets better. Sometimes you struggle with it and it doesn't get better. And you should just start something new. A really nice kind of practice it's nice because it's super kind of challenging for me and very annoying until you get used to it. But the whole entire idea of starting a painting, knowing that's not the painting. That's the first attempt. And you're just going to go through the process, hit all the roadblocks, see how to go around them, and then you paint it again from scratch. The second time is always going to be much better than the first time, generally.
Yeah, I totally understand that feeling. I'm working on this one at home at the moment, and I just did the first pass, and I'm like, okay, I have to scrap this, but I'll still like keep working at it. The main thing what I try to do is I try to take something from it every time I paint, like learn from what your mistakes pretty much, and that's kind of like the goal for me.
Totally. And you look at other artists from history, the best ones in the world. Did they just paint the one painting? Or did they paint like about 20 paintings, 20 little studies before they did their final one? So many of them totally did that. Is that going to be boring? Yes, to many it's going to be boring. To the new generation, it's going to be extremely boring because nobody is used to being bored anymore and just sitting there and doing nothing. Every time anybody's bored, they're going to pick up a phone, pick up their, computer or whatever, and entertain themselves. The people that are okay with staring at a raw egg on a plate and painting it for, a whole day, painting it 5 times over, those are the people that have the fantastic, rare ingredients to become an amazing artist.
Mm-hmm.
So get used to being able to do boring things, repetitive things, and learn to enjoy them. If you can do that, you'll be in the top percentage, and it'll come in so handy in the future of like everybody just constantly just entertaining themselves with something, you know?
Yeah. Awesome. So the next question is by Omer. Hi, I had a question for me, Miss A, I guess. So were you a schoolism student, and then did you go to a workshop and start meeting the staff, and afterwards you got so good that you were hired at Bobby's studio?
Nice.
No, actually, I guess the way I kind of got myself to Imaginism Studio is originally through a friend that I met in school, and I was taking off a year, and then she found out that I was, I had a whole year of doing, like, not going to school, so she thought that it might be nice if I kind of helped out in the studio as like a office assistant in the beginning. So my art wasn't really like up there at the start, but
Okay, let me tell
I feel like
my version. Okay, this is my version because I feel like you're selling yourself kind of short here. So we have a person, Michelle, that works at the studio. She knew you from school. You were a year under her.
2 years under.
2 years under her, and so we were looking for just bringing in an intern like we will do from time to time, and it was between, what was it? It was like between you and somebody else, anyways.
Yeah.
And then we decided we don't need an intern, and we said no to everybody, including Massey. And that's not the first time. Like T-Bear, I told him, must have gave him a bunch of no's. Yeah, I totally did. Peter Chan, same thing. But it's how you deal with the failures, that will determine how successful you'll become. So we said no, right? Really liked Massey, but we weren't planning on taking anybody. So we said no, and then we, a couple months passed. We saw her at Toronto Fan Expo, the Comic-Con here, and I went up and I said hi. And Massey, being Massey, was just so friendly and was just like, hey, how's it going? Didn't have any kind of qualms about not being selected. And just good, positive energy, right? And then that was the catalyst. That was, after that, that's when I was like, you know what? Even though we don't need anybody at that time, we should get Massey, because great people are hard to come by, and you should get them on your little boat first before you decide on the destination sometimes, because they're hard to come by.
Aww. Thanks, Bobby. Sometimes I'm like, oh, how did I get here? I made it.
How did all of us get here?
Thanks for answering my question. Okay, so the next question is by Vishal. I'm interested in doing effects animation. Do you think there's an industry for that?
Of course.
Oh yeah, totally.
Totally. There's an industry for everything. Mm-hmm. Years ago, I met an artist. He was trying really hard at everything and wasn't really making any traction. Then I meet him a couple years later, and this is still years ago, and he's doing awesome. He said, oh, I was just trying different things. I was trying to, make my art work, and one day I painted this creepy clown, and then all of the creepy clown prints sold, and he was like, why? And then he discovered that there's this whole collection of people that are into creepy clowns. He liked painting that creepy clown, so he's like, yeah, I'll paint some more, that'll be fun. and then he found his thing. So even such a obscure thing like creepy clowns, there's still, a market for that. Special effects. How many movies now, big time movies, like in the theater kind of movies, not like direct to video or something, how many of them have special effects? It's like more than half, way more than half. So do you is there a spot for you? Of course.
Yeah. Creepy clowns. There's a whole people who like those. The next question is by Henry. Can we have a Noah Bradley interview or even a class?
Noah Bradley. Well, he teaches his own class, I believe. So, people on schoolism, they just teach on schoolism. But I really respect Noah Bradley's work, and, I wish him the absolute best. And hopefully we can do an interview in the future.
That'd be awesome. Okay, now that we're moving on to today's questions, Jacob Huggins asks, I'm a beginner in drawing and I'm 21. Will schoolism shorten light the path of arting? Like help me what things I should follow and not to do?
Okay, so let me just rephrase that. So I'm a beginner in drawing and I'm 21. Will schoolism kind of show the path to, making great art? Absolutely. One of the things when we bring in a junior artist is we'll enroll them in classes where they take them with the teachers, with feedback, and after 10 different classes that they would take, then we put them up for review to become a full-fledged artist. That's it. When you take enough classes from amazing artists, that becomes an amazing path. When you take classes, a whole bunch of classes from really bad artists, man, can that go wrong. So be very careful in who you're learning from. Because if somebody is teaching you, oh yeah, you light cigarettes with dynamite, and it's like, okay, that's really bad instruction, and that's going to go horribly wrong. It makes sense, doesn't it? Like you get wrong directions, you're not going to get to your destination. So we try to fill schoolism. We do fill schoolism with really great teachers that can actually do the things that they teach and are many are top of the pile, leading the pack. And that's where you go to try to get there as well. You do not become a chess master from learning from chess amateurs. That I can say without a doubt. You got to learn from other chess masters.
Ride the shoulders of giants. Okay, the next question is by Rosalia. Are the days of Florence workshop known? At least the estimate? I need this info for my visa.
March 17th and 18th. It's going to be epic. Let me actually look up the instructors that are going to be there because it is going to be like so phenomenal. So there's this artist named Claire Wendling, like she's gonna be there. Holy smokes.
What?
One of my absolute artistic heroes, like I just mentioned in the very beginning of this podcast, or this stream, Daniel Arriaga. He's an art director for character design at this studio called Pixar or something like that.
Something like that.
It's a small studio. You've probably never heard of it. Carla Ortiz, she designed this strange character. It was a doctor that was strange, and it was for the studio. That was a real marvel. Okay, I'll stop. Then Paula Zane, art director on Lord of the Rings. Holy smokes. The dude's a master. He goes from animation to live action. Anyways, those are just 4, and the other 2 are not totally confirmed, but obviously that is more than enough reason to go to Florence in March. Holy smokes.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I'm hoping to just go and just attend and just learn.
Yeah, I would love to go too. So March 17th, 18th.
Yeah.
For the people who needs visas.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the next question is by Iyad Art. What are your thoughts about the trend of 360 panoramic paintings? Does it have a place in the entertainment pipeline or just another gimmick?
Only time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
But it does sound interesting, and it's always great to branch out, try different things.
Yeah. And it's like there's always an industry for everything.
Yeah, who
Almost
knows?
everything.
Who knows? You know,
Yeah.
like VR has been around since I was a tiny kid. I
Mhm.
remember like my earliest memories of VR was Virtual Boy from Nintendo, which many of you never even heard of. It only had one color, it's red. And when you watch it for 5 minutes, you're like blind for another 5 minutes when you stop. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay, so the next question is by Rilligan. Is there a way to change speed of schoolism videos similar to YouTube?
You mean like speed up the
The
sound and everything?
Yeah, so I get to speed up the.
Oh, you can do
whole
that
video.
in YouTube? Well, not right now.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Okay, so the next question is by April Blank. Do you have any tips for studying color and color theory?
Color and color theory. Well, and you know what? It's like this. Every problem that I come across dealing with art, I try to solve it, and I try to solve it for the art community. And many times that's, you know, it ends up in schoolism. So yeah, take a schoolism class. I would recommend Sam Nielsen's class for understanding light and color. Holy smokes, that one's amazing. He teaches you the whole, like how it all works down to the photons, down to the wavelengths of, you know, light. Dyson Robert, painting with light and color.
Mm-hmm.
They were Oscar nominated. They were art directors on Toy Story 3, Ratatouille, you know, Monsters University. You know, they're killing it. If you're learning from people like those, you're in good hands. Nathan Fowkes, you know, that's what I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do that, if you can't afford $15 a month, then you can't even afford a sketchbook. You can't afford paints. You know, like that is, in my mind, that is literally the easiest, best, most affordable way to learn light and color.
Mm-hmm.
The fastest way.
Yeah, and you don't need a sketchbook. You can just get loose paper or like the back of a sheet, so you can use that money towards schoolism.
Like if you truly can't afford anything and you're painting with soy sauce and ketchup to make your colors or something, then okay, I would say paint from life. And just try to make that soy sauce work for you.
Okay, so the next question is by Emmer. How to not get overwhelmed with all the stuff that I have to learn before creating my own artwork, and how to apply what I've learned to my own artwork.
You gotta put the blinders on. What I like to do is I really love strategizing my learning, and just like generally I love strategy, you know. So what I like to do is I like to take the things I want to do in chunks. So it's not like I'll split up if I want to do 4 different things. I don't try to split up my day into, okay, 2 hours here, 2 hours there, 2 hours there, 2 hours there. I try to make it in big blocks. So I'll say, okay, for this next 3 months, I'm going to work on this, you know, and you really narrow your focus down to that one thing. Think of it as like, you know, when you have a magnifying glass and you're burning ants as a little child. You know what I'm talking about, Miss A?
I sure do.
You cruel, cruel person. Yeah, the rays of the sun are generally harmless, you know, for the most part anyways. But when they're focused on a point, on one thing, then you get intensity.
Okay, so the next question is by Noah again. Could you share some of your favorite or good learning experiences?
Do you have one? Do you want to go first?
Oh, I'd have to think about it. But I think one of the best learning experiences doing projects, working on projects, especially the one I'm on currently. It's like being just kind of like diving right into it. Is just piles and piles of things that I'm learning. I'm pretty much forced to learn, which is better than me not doing the project at all, or else I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't have known any of that. So, and I think that's one of my best learning experiences.
Man, I have so many just because, we've had the studio, I don't know, like over 11 years now and everything, and going from really nothing to this, you learn a lot. One of the biggest learning experiences, one of the biggest ones is just really learning about empathy and how that is so powerful. So, being able to really understand how somebody else feels. How's that gonna help me in art? Well, if you can look at your painting and you can understand how most people will feel about your painting, just like what I was saying in the very beginning, you have your goal for the emotional impact that people will have when they look at your art. When you're better at empathy, when you're better at kind of connecting with others and really trying to understand how they feel and stuff like that, you'll hit that target a lot easier. Not only that, but it makes you a better communicator. Because if you don't understand how other people feel, then it's harder to communicate with them, right? If you think that they like what you're doing and they don't, you keep going, you keep talking, and they just hate you more and more. How does this relate to art again? Well, you have to deal with clients, you have to deal with other people. Even if you're a lone wolf doing the gallery thing or something, painting a painting, selling a painting, if you know how people are going to feel about your paintings, because somebody has to buy them, it makes you a better painter, I think. Makes you be a better artist. Not like you have to cater to everybody, but to know the result of what you're doing is powerful. Very powerful. And the key to it is empathy.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question is by Lee Bom-hee. Oh, do you remember Bom-hee from Seattle?
Yeah!
Yes.
That guy's awesome.
He is. From Korea.
He was the one that came from Korea.
The first time he ever traveled outside of Korea, he came to the schoolism workshop.
My buddy Lee out there, let me tell you about Lee, okay? He came all the way from South Korea to Seattle to attend the Seattle workshop, Comic-Con, whatever, and a lot of his friends told him he was crazy and was wasting his money and all this stuff. Well, to all of his friends out there that, was like, that was crazy. This is why you go to places where opportunities can happen. Because we got to know Lee, and not only that, but we really liked him. And we invited him out to dinner and all that stuff, and he ended up having dinner with us and Daisutsumi, Robert Kondo. They were there as well, right? And
Mike Yamada.
And all these people.
Yeah.
And that never would have happened if he didn't just take a chance. So big shouts out to Lee. And his question is, my job ends in February. I'm planning to visit North America. Could I visit schoolism when I get a chance, or when I come to Canada? Heck yeah, you can.
Yeah, we'd love to see you again.
Send us an email. We'll make it happen.
Awesome.
People like that with a heart that big, those are my people. Those are the people that really are going for it.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, so the next question is by Confuse Art. Hey Bobby, will there ever be a Michael Kuche class?
I would love to. Michael is brilliant. I don't think it'll happen too much though, because he's said himself it's a little harder for him to explain his process. Some people, they're incredible artists and they kind of just do.
Maybe an interview would be
possible? Yeah, I did an interview with him years and years ago. I should do another one though. That's been like years and years.
So more updated.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, Fours Art Island? Is that a... anyways, hi Bobby and Masay. I'm 18 years old and I'm following a graphic design education right now. But it teaches me almost nothing about what I want to do. Should I get my diploma or /schoolism?
I'm not going to tell you which one to do, even though you obviously know which one I'm going to say is going to be better. You go to a place where There's people there that many of them, some of them did reach their artistic goals in life, but many of them and most of them downgraded their artistic goals from when they were students, when they had all the hopes in the world. Did they hit those goals? Most of them, no. That's just life. Or you go and you learn from people that actually did hit their goals and are living their dream jobs and all that stuff. Who's going to be better to learn from to get to your own dream jobs? As an 18-year-old, go to, the people that you admire, the people that you respect. Because the other thing is, especially if you take a critique session class, which I've taken as well, I do a pseudonym and I sign up for a class to, experience it just how everybody else would experience it. When I know I have to hand something in to Craig Mullins next week, I have a million other things to think about, but that's the only thing I'm thinking about for the next week. When you're learning from somebody that you respect and admire, you are learning, you are putting an effort at a whole nother level, naturally. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Hey Bobby, what's your favorite aspect to a young professional's portfolio? When looking through student work applying to studio jobs, what is the number one thing you'd look for?
I look for their potential. I look for their personality because I like my studio and I love the people that are at the studio, and I don't want to bring in anybody that is going to frustrate me or whatever, personality for sure, big time, and just trying to pick up on their drive there, because not everybody that comes in with amazing talent. Everybody can learn the talent for sure. Mm-hmm. Whether you get to the tippy top of the mountain of artists that exist in the world, well, that's a different story, but you learn from the right people and you can for sure get really high up on that mountain until you're a small percentage of the art community. A lot of people, they say that they don't have skills. These people are just selling themselves short. They just haven't invested enough time into their craft. So be a good person, be a nice person, work on your empathy, mm-hmm. and you'll be hired a lot more as long as you're working hard to gobble up that knowledge and get better and better. The biggest question, the biggest fear when hiring people, I could tell you, firsthand, is their personality. Mm. Nobody wants to fire anybody.
Yeah, no.
That's like the worst.
Uh-huh. Okay, so the next question is by Joel. Would you recommend recent graduate students to consider freelance or apply to a studio first?
Do what your heart desires. Mm-hmm. When I told my certain people, I want to start a studio. I just graduated. I was talking about starting a studio. Did people believe me? No. They were like, that's the worst idea ever. You should go and spend 15 years at somebody else's studio, big studio, to learn how it's done. And I'm just thinking, well, this is like early 2000s. And I'm like, 15 years ago, the whole entire industry was completely different. If I learned all that stuff, I would just know a whole bunch of old stuff. What can I do with my time besides working at another? If I was working on my own studio for 15 years, how much can I accomplish in that time? Mm-hmm. If I followed that advice, there would be no schoolism, there would be no Imaginism studios, there would be no stream right now, really.
Oh, that'd be so sad. Yeah, and there's never like a right path for anyone. It's just
exactly. There is totally not a right path, mm-hmm. but there is a right goal. Mm-hmm. And how you get to that path, everybody gets to it differently.
Yeah.
But as long as you have that goal in mind, that goal is your compass to make sure that you will, eventually, altogether, you're heading in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that. The goal rather than the path.
Yeah, totally, because mm-hmm. paths will change. All of a sudden a tree falls in front of the road, and what are you going to do? You're going to just go, okay, I still got to go that direction.
Yeah.
No, You're going to find another way.
Okay, so the next question is by Matt. For years, I have tried many texts and subjects. Now it seems I have thrown my time away without finding anything. I see people start... Oh, sorry. I don't know if this is a question.
Matt just wants to say that, he spent a lot of time doing other stuff. And he sees other people just studying one subject for years, and then they became professional. Well, the best way to get good at anything is to, like I was saying, just focus in on that one thing and really dig in deep on that one thing, and then you'll get much better much quicker. Especially when you're starting off, your skills in every subject is not particularly high. And if you work on all the subjects to try to get them all up, well, you're competing with Joe Schmo that is going, okay, I only want to concentrate on this. I only want to be a great environmental artist. Well, the chance of you becoming a better environmental artist than Joe Schmo is not going to be very good because you're spreading your attention way too thin.
Okay. Sorry. So the next question is by Christoph. Any tips on making your art more unique? I often hear you need to find what you identify with, but I find that what I like is very generic and doesn't stand out at all.
Great question,
That is
Christoph.
a really good question.
You need to learn more stuff. It sounds like you haven't explored enough yet. How I kind of developed my own style and created my own kind of identity, so to speak, is just by gobbling up information, right? When you start learning a lot of stuff, then you'll use the things that you like. Just like when you learn cast shadows for the first time. It's a perfect example. A lot of people, they learn cast shadows and then they're like, oh, that looks cool. And then they start putting cast shadows on all their stuff, right? And then maybe later on you learn about hard body surfacing and, to paint cool futuristic cars, but you're more interested in, children's entertainment or something like that, cute, fuzzy, little furry things. You take that information in, you gobble it up and you put it on the shelf, and you might not use it as much, right? And then you get more knowledge and you take some of it that you like, expel the rest, whatever. You will naturally do this. And the best styles are the ones that reflect you as a person, as an artist, not just a great painting, a great drawing, right? And the way that happens is if you're gobbling up knowledge and you're keeping the stuff that you like and you're applying the things that you like, well, then you are, in a sense, starting to develop art, a style, about things that speak about you because you're only putting in things that you like. Okay, so don't even look for your style. Look for knowledge and gobble it up, because then you're also making a style that's based off of knowledge. And when you're doing that, it becomes a lot harder to copy. And I feel like because it's based off of a lot of foundation, it's a lot more timeless. That's my own opinion anyways.
Yeah. So the next question is by Mauricio. Hi Bobby, you are awesome. Any chance of a schoolism workshop in Mexico City in 2017?
No, but thank you. I would love to go to Mexico. I'm just saying no because we've set our list of the 8 workshops that we're going to be going to in 2017. Schoolism is going to Seattle, Florence, Calgary, Beijing, London, Berlin, Portland, and Copenhagen. But will we ever go to Mexico? Absolutely, without a doubt. I've loved every trip I've had to Mexico. The ones that I could remember were super amazing.
Yeah.
And the ones I can't remember, I think they were even better probably.
So the next question by Progress. Hi Bobby Massey. If the art school you go to is no good, and do you think quitting is okay, or stick with it to get the degree while go self-taught at the same moment?
Okay, these things, it's just our opinions, okay? But education is an investment, There's good investments and there's bad investments. If a stock keeps going down and doesn't look like it's ever going to go up, should you keep it? Probably not. Where is my diploma? I don't know. I probably threw it out. Has anybody ever asked most professionals for a degree or whatever? No. If that ever happens, perhaps it might happen in the very, very beginning of your career for your very first job. Maybe. But it's not needed. It's the only time it's ever truly needed is when you're dealing with visas, work visas to work in a different country. Yes, but then there's also ways around that as well. You know, if you have, I believe it's like 3 years working experience, a lot of times that becomes the equivalent of, and I'm not in that business, so this is just from what I remember, and maybe it's totally wrong. I don't know. But yeah, it's supposed to be the equivalent of like a diploma or degree or whatever.
Yeah. So do what you think is good for your art investment.
Yeah. Hey, university, school, whatever, that is only one class in the school of life. Kazam.
Okay, so the next question is by Isaiah. There is a better way to learn, for example, texture, life drawing, gesture, or is there a better way to learn?
Yeah, this, you know, better than what? I feel so repetitive. I don't want like, yeah, just take $15, try a schoolism class, and you tell me if it's worth it. Or if you have taken a schoolism classes, let them know in the comments if it's worth it. If it's worth $15. A lot of times I say, yeah, it's just like the price of a dinner. But usually it's not even. You know, you go to a nice restaurant, that's 2 appetizers. Maybe 1 appetizer. For education, that's super worth it. What we're trying to do with schoolism, what I want to do with schoolism is make it an absolute no-brainer. Take away every excuse that people have and people have given me over the years of why they are not kicking butt in art and not trying super hard, and trying to eliminate all of them so they don't have access to great knowledge, great classes that will make them awesome artists. Well, now you do. You know, well, I can't afford it. Well, now you can. So what other excuses do they have out there? I don't have a computer. Well, how are you talking to me? How are you I don't know.
Okay, so the next question is by Joelle. Hey Bobby, do you have some knowledge about work visas or getting work abroad? If you do you have any streams where you'll discuss about that?
I know we are working on bring an artist from Singapore to Canada to work with us. We're going through that whole visa thing right now, but I'm not dealing with that, so I'm not really. Yeah, I don't know, but working, you know, I work for a lot of companies, a lot of projects where they're based not in Canada. Pretty much every project that we work on is actually not based in Canada, so it's absolutely doable. That's the best thing about living in nowadays, because you can live anywhere. You can live anywhere and kick butt at your art career, even if there is nothing around you. You live on a farm and your closest neighbor is like 2 kilometers away.
Yeah.
You can still do it as long as you got the internet.
Okay, I think the video is almost done.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll answer a few more questions.
I think one last question.
Okay.
And we'll answer the other ones that we don't get to on the next stream, which we will make next Friday. Same time, same channel.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, then I'll just go to the next question. Little Paw Prince asks, what were your first few paid jobs?
Well, yeah, my very, 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 very first was working in a toy company in Toronto, Canada. They do big licensed toys like Pixar toys and Warner Brothers and Disney and whatever else. Working on a Bug's Life toys. That was my very first job, as far as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years later, whatever, took animation, and one of my very first jobs was working on this cartoon show called Rescue Heroes. It was a Warner Brothers kids show that apparently Masae knows as a child or something.
Yeah, I do.
Holy smokes. All right, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to give us a like or give us a comment. Let us know which class you took on schoolism that helped you the most, and hopefully that will help others that are looking for, that kind of advice. And we'll be around next week, same time, same channel. We're going to try to do this consistently. And I think that's about it. You want to add anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right.
See you guys next week.
All right. See you guys next week.